Derby County are potentially in the search of free agents, and the main one that comes on the lips at the moment is Jeff Hendrick. I've had a few comments telling me that Jeff Hendrick is currently training with Derby County, and although there's been no official confirmation, I would just like to discuss it and the potential of Jeff Hendrick coming into Derby County. Now, a few days ago I made a video discussing Jeff Hendrick, his career and his ability and things that he's done throughout his years so far. But what we haven't discussed is the proper sort of opinions that you have to say over the course of Jeff Hendrick. Now, obviously, when we talk about Jeff Hendrick coming in, the big caveat is always going to be regarding fitness. Obviously, at the moment, he's missing probably a lot of footballing fitness, as we've seen with Kmar Roof, a player who has been keeping himself fit in his own right, but being available and football fit is a completely different standard. And when you train every single day to a high intensity at a football club with gym sessions, footballing sessions and everything, it is just a completely different level. Now, can Jeff Hendrick come in and make a difference for Derby County? Yes, I think he can. But the problem will be is how long would it take him to be fit and available? Now, John Eustace spoke in the press before the Middlesbrough game about players who could potentially come in, and he's got to sort of look at them first and bring them in, because the most important thing is fitness. If players aren't fit, then how are you going to improve the squad? How are you going to play them? And that is the big question, because you can't. So the big question then for me is, with a player like Jeff Hendrick, it opens up the door for opportunities for other players to not get opportunities. And if you look at us at the moment, we look as if we're set straight to go down, realistically. And that is the question that really needs to be answered for me, is do you bring in a Jeff Hendrick and try and claw back a potential 7-point gap after tomorrow night? Or do you put in a Jake Rooney, Jack Perry, Cruz Allen, Harry Hawkins or something like that, and give them the opportunity to prove that they can play at first team level? Or do you go for a player like Jeff Hendrick who blocks that opportunity for a few months? Now, it's a big discussion, and it will all go depending on what, say, John Eustace thinks about this group. If he thinks that he can turn it around and he can get Derby County back firing and keep them up, then the obvious answer for me is a 2-month deal, 3-month deal for Jeff Hendrick, where he is on essentially a pay-as-you-play, because we know he's had injuries and stuff over the course of the last few years as well and struggled to play, really. So you've got that sort of discussion to have. Now, obviously, Derby County at the moment are lacking in options. Kane Wilson is looking closer to a return. He's set to be back on Monday morning. Will he be available for the weekend? I don't really know. You then look at Corey Blackett-Taylor, who's closing in on a return too, which obviously adds to those options for Derby County. Now, obviously, they don't add to the midfield. And in midfield, I think that's where we're lacking our ability. Now, Jeff Hendrick as a player was phenomenal at Derby County 10 years ago. He went on to play in the Premier League for pretty much 8 more years, before then having a couple of loan spells at Reading and Sheffield Wednesday and things like that. So he's had a good career. The fact that he's without a club now, to me, is actually quite surprising. You lot can all have your say on that down in the comments, but for me, I am very, very surprised that that he hasn't found a club. Now, the big question will always be for Derby County is he going to help us be able to stay up in the Championship? Or is it going to be a case of we bring someone in, he's not really going to play, and it's going to look like a poor deal at the end of the season? Because he's not going to be on pittance. He's not going to be on, like, say, $4,000 a week. He's probably going to be upwards of, like, 15, which over the course of, say, 3 months, because his deal, I imagine, would be till the end of June, you'd imagine that's a fairly decent chunk of change. A couple of $100,000. Which, obviously, for Derby County, it is a lot of money. For Derby County, it's not a lot of money in terms of football, but it's a lot of money. Now, the problem that we have is bringing in a Jeff Hendrick. Yes, it offers an extra option in midfield, but it doesn't, in my opinion, add the creative spark that we need. Now, for me, I think that Harrison Armstrong did a really good job there versus Middlesbrough on Saturday afternoon. next to Ebro Adams. I think Ebro Adams is going to constantly be a problem for me, in my personal opinion. I just don't think he's good enough, if I'm completely honest. Runs around like a headless chicken, wins load of tackles, brilliant. But when it comes to the other side of the game, he just isn't good enough, and I think that takes away from some of the other stuff he does. But I'll always give him credit for his work rate, his effort, and things like that. So, do you really want a Jeff Hendrick, or would you prefer to call up a Cruz Allen? Have Cruz Allen play in that number 10 role. Go Ebro Adams, Harrison Armstrong, Cruz Allen in number 10. Why not chuck Owen Eames on the bench? We had Charles Ibuka on the bench at the weekend. I'm not going to say his actual last name. It's down as Ibuka on the website. So I'm not going to try and butcher his other name because I don't want to be offensive. But he was on the bench at the weekend. Why did we not chuck him in? I understand that we were losing 1-0 at 80 minutes, but why not? Why did we chuck Kmar Roof on? Yeah, you probably go, oh, well, Roof may have scored. We didn't look like scoring. Like, we didn't create many opportunities yesterday. And we had a really good opportunity with Liam Thompson. I think he picked up the ball. So someone won a tackle. I can't remember who it was. Liam Thompson picked up the ball, took 2 touches, and just smashed it. He had Selverson to his right. I think he had Kenzo to his right. And again, it just leads... I think he saw his name in the lights. He saw his name in the headlines and was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for this. And that's the problem we find ourselves in. We've got a couple of players. I'm not necessarily saying that Liam Thompson wanted to be the hero, but you've got players that understand that we're lacking in confidence and we need a hero, really. And I think that's what happened to Liam Thompson with that moment. Obviously, breaking away from the defender, has a defender closing in, could make the pass to the right to Selverson, who I think, had the ball gone through, I think he would have essentially been through on goal on his strong foot to go far post. Or could have dropped it off for Kenzo, who would have been just outside the box. The man who was running towards Tomo would have been occupied. Could he have scored? Maybe. But these are the problems that Derby County have. And could Jeff Hendrick solve that? I don't necessarily believe that Hendrick is the answer to the problems. I don't necessarily think that youth is the answer to the problems either, by the way. Don't think I'm saying that. But I do think if you look at a Charles Ibuka to come in as a striker, you look at a Lennon Wilden to come in the wide areas, a Jack Perry to come in, Tristan Gill maybe, Dan Cox, Kai Robinson. You look at Darren Robinson in the midfield for the 21s. You look at Jake Rooney. Why not just give him a go? Like, I think the thing that Wayne Rooney did during that administration season, mainly through force, but also because why not? Festi Ebiseli had a go, Liam Thompson had a go, Cashin had a go, Sibley, Bird, Knight, all had a go. Now, Sibley, Bird and Knight were pretty much first team regulars at that point anyway. Buchanan was pretty much in there as well. But he gave them a go. Malcolm Ebiowi, another one. Luke Plange had a go. Like, he gave opportunities. Carlos Richards made his debut. Amari Kellyman would have made his debut if there was a reason why he didn't make it. I think there was an injury, which meant that he couldn't make his debut. Like, he gave opportunities to players. And the problem that I'm seeing right now is we aren't giving those opportunities even for 5 minutes. Like, there's plenty of games this season, Pompey 4-0, where we could have given some. West Brom. Like, when there's players on the bench that are youngsters, you're winning a get, just chuck them in. Like, and especially at this point, now we know we're down, why not give players opportunities? Wayne Rooney did it with Sobolski, Watson, Darren Robinson, I think, got a couple of good opportunities. So, why not? Like, that's my opinion. Why not give those players opportunities to prove that they can play at this level? So, if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, turn on the notification bell. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you in my next video.